Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today, guys. We're a little bit calm. I mean, obviously, 24 hours after Man United got knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton and Hove Albion, you know, it's time to reflect. It's time to look forward, and it's time to just accept that we just have to move on now, and with a new manager, with a new style, with a new team, hopefully. And rumors are spreading around about Man United, the new manager, the interim position. Who's going to be the new interim manager? Is he going to be backed, this manager? That's a very good question as well. Is he going to be backed? Is the new manager going to be backed? Is the interim manager going to be backed? And obviously, this falls right into the hands of the Glazers. But one thing I want to say before I start, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're new, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Don't forget to put your notifications on and all that jazz. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, look, obviously, it's very, very unlikely that Manchester United will be doing any business this window. Obviously, we're getting an interim manager. And when you bring in an interim manager into the football club, it is potentially a stopgap kind of thing, isn't it? It's a temporary solution. So when you bring in a manager like that, when you bring in an interim manager, it is very unlikely that interim manager gets backed. However, it's not in the realms of impossibility that the new manager will come in, the interim manager will come in and say, look, I need this, I need that plan, I need this to fix the squad. Generally, it's going to be very difficult to do. Now we're into like the second week of the January transfer window, of course. And look, nothing has happened. No clue as to what's going on at the moment. And obviously, I do feel like they this is semi-planned by them. This is perfect for INEOS. This is perfect for them. This falls right into their hands. Now, the main contender has emerged, you may have heard, as Michael Carrick. Now, guys, Michael Carrick, of course, is Ertli's Corn. He was a interim manager at Man United before. Wasn't there very long. I think it was only 3 or 4 games. He went on to manage, of course, Middlesbrough. Did okay, but obviously in the end was fired from his position. Now, look, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't paint him with a brush of like, you know what, he got sacked and that's it. It's over for him. Because at the end of the day, I know that managing Middlesbrough, you have to look at it in context, as we do. You have to look at it in context. It's not very easy to manage a team on limited budgets, especially in the Championship and League One, where it is very, very competitive, guys. But Michael Carrick will emerge as Manchester United's #1 target at this very moment, although that can change. What can we expect from Michael Carrick? Now, Michael Carrick is not a very outspoken character. Even when he was a player, he wasn't very loud. He was very, how would I say it? He weren't like one of those people to be screaming and shouting on a touchline. Very calm and reserved. I would say that it does reflect in his football as well. A very calm, reserved, very, very easygoing kind of player. A bit like his personality, if we're being honest with ourselves, So maybe he might bring a bit of calm and authority to Manchester United, but will he bring discipline to Man United? That remains to be seen, of course, because obviously we need a mixture of things, not just calm and being everyone's friend and being everyone's mate. It's about a mixture of things. Now, it's very interesting that Man United think forward and Man United think realistically and Man United think ambitiously. And when I talk about ambitiously, I mean like when we get the likes of Marcus Rashford coming back to the football club and things like that. What was very telling for me, in last night's game between Barcelona and Real Madrid in the El Clasico final, Rashford played a small role, and he has played a small role this season. He has been a bit part player from the bench, and this made me reflect on what Man United are as a football club. We see these players as main characters. We see these players as main players. We see them as our star player, our star boys. Barcelona wouldn't see these players as like their star boys. They were like 7 minutes yesterday in that final. They wouldn't see these players as, players that, are the main starters and first on the team sheet. And I think that is where standards and that's where levels have dropped at Manchester United. We really need to remember that. And I feel like this has been going on for the last 10 years, 11 years. It's been going on for a long time that Man United have obviously, lowered their standards in regard, and this no thanks to INEOS. INEOS like this. They want this. They want us to lower our standards. Does Michael Carrick represent a lowering of standards? Well, you have to say yes in regards to managerial, because he's not a worldwide name in managers. However, I'm not going to say that he's going to fail at Man United because I would love him to succeed at Man United. Of course, I would, ex-player, everything like that, all that nostalgia and stuff like that. Of course, I would love Michael Carrick to succeed at Man United. It'd be absolutely phenomenal if he managed to do it, but it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, we know how difficult it is at Man United, you know, and the pressure gets to the best of them. You don't think that Ruben Amorim and Eric Ten Hag had big personalities. They did. And, you know, we just destroyed these people. We destroyed these managers. With the Glazers, it has been a shambles. With obviously INEOS and the Glazers has been even worse. And INEOS are failing, in my opinion, and they are not making any friends. The people are starting to turn on INEOS. Even the most staunchest of INEOS supporters, including the media, by the way, are starting to turn on INEOS. They're starting to turn their back on INEOS. They're starting to they're starting to talk about how they're a shambles and how they are failing, and you know how they're not doing well, and blah blah blah. And you know, you have to admit it. Will INEOS ever leave this football club? Will they leave this football club? Will INEOS Manchester United? Can they leave Manchester United? How would I say this? If things start getting a little bit precarious, it's just like what Jim Ratcliffe said. If I'm not wanting it anymore, I won't be here anymore. And I actually think this could be a thing. If the pressure gets too much on INEOS, if the fans revolt, if the fans protest, if the fans are aggressive with it, I do believe that eventually INEOS would have to sell. I think they will sell eventually. That's not to say that the Glazers will leave. However, it would make it very difficult for the Glazers to stay at Manchester United, considering the need for INEOS and the need for Jim Ratcliffe, because Jim Ratcliffe is basically doing all the dirty work. He's the puppet on the string, so to speak, and he's the one, you know what, making all the moves and the contacts in regards to the regeneration project, of course, guys. But what I would say is this: it's not to get our hopes up, but Man United do need a full sale. And that is what we've been asking for from the beginning. All this mess, all this chaos would not be around right now if we had a full sale. Man United would be much more steady. Man United would be much more ready to challenge for leagues and stuff like that if we had a full sale. Of course, Qatar, which were pushed aside by Jim Ratcliffe, of course, and the Vanity Project began. I find it astounding that Jim Ratcliffe has disappeared in this very, very crucial period. He's not said anything. He's not appeared in media. He's not done any interviews. And funny that, because when he came into Manchester United, he done lots and lots of interviews, didn't he? You couldn't keep him out of the media. It was crazy. But now he's gone, all of a sudden he's gone quiet and he doesn't want to talk to anyone. Okay. So is this the beginning of the end for INEOS? I feel like the regeneration project, if the regeneration project hits a snag, if it doesn't go through, then you can bet your bottom dollar that INEOS will no longer be at this football club. It is very disheartening. It's very annoying. It actually frustrates me so much. I'm trying not to think about it. The fact that we had a manager who had implemented a plan. The plan was there and we haven't pulled through with that plan. You know, and we're just giving up on another manager and we're bringing in a caretaker who is an amateur manager, of course. Now, guys, I am intelligent as far as subject to popular belief. And I know that, you know, managers have to start somewhere. And I know that not everything is black and white. And, you know, he might become a great manager. Xavi started somewhere. Pep Guardiola started somewhere. You have to start somewhere at the end of the day, guys. Of course it is, you know. And I would say I wish him the best of luck, Michael, because this is not your fault. This mess is not Michael Carrick's fault. I want to reiterate. And he will get my 100% support. And I will support him, you know, with just as much as I've supported every other manager at this football club, which is a lot, guys. And because ultimately, this is not about me. This is not about my opinion. This is not about whether I'm right or wrong. This club exceeds my opinion. This club is far bigger than my opinion. Unfortunately, people don't think like this. They think that their word is the oracle of Manchester United and that their opinion is absolutely the gospel. And that is it. On stone. I would love Man United to come back, regardless of who the owners are, because that's all that matters to me. Man United have put me in a state of depression recently, honest to God. The way that things have gone, the sacking of the manager, the results that have gone upside down since the sacking of the manager. We're out of the FA Cup. We're only going to play 40 games in this season for the first time since 1930, 1940. And for me, that is disgraceful. In itself, it's disgraceful. Now, guys, I want to read something for you. It was from a niece. Well, let me get this up for you. I want to read this. Just read it. I'm going to read it out. Okay, it's from Solange Claude Solange, president of the Nice Supporters Club. This is a recent one. This is not the old one, right? So Jim Ratcliffe may be an expert in chemicals industry, but he has shown he knows nothing about football. He is incompetent. I can understand how all these Manchester United fans must be feeling. What he is doing to their club, he has already done to ours. I can understand there was plenty of optimism when Ratcliffe's brother, Bob, was first appointed to run us. He did not last too long, nor did David Brailsford, the cycling man out of his depth in football. This sums up the whole approach. Now, people from the past have been put in charge, a bit like what's happening at Manchester United. So basically, we're duplicating Nice. We are duplicating what Nice did. The same thing, the Brailsford, Jim Ratcliffe, sacking all the managers and getting an ex-pro in charge, a legend of the football club in charge. We're doing exactly the same thing, guys. It's ridiculous, insanity. And this guy, as Solange has just said, the absolute gospel. And before INEOS took charge of this football club, I said it, and I spoke to Nice fans, I spoke to people who work at Nice, and every single one of them has said it's a bad idea for Man United. It's bad for Man United. I'm telling you, it's going to be bad news for Man United, every single one of them. Man United did not deserve this. And more importantly, the Man United fan base do not deserve this. We are the greatest fans in the world. We have the greatest away support in the world. We travel the world, the Red Army. We travel the world, and we are the loudest in every single ground we go to. It's sad what these corporate bigots are doing to our football club. It's sad that they don't have the best interest at heart for the football club, and they don't. It's disillusioning. It makes you feel like, you know what, it's a point of giving up. But I will never give up, guys. And I will never stop supporting the INEOS, the Glazers Out movement. And I'm glad now that the Glazers Out movement has added INEOS, because this is something that I was saying. INEOS are a big part of the Glazers. INEOS are a massive part of the Glazers now. They are an extension. They are go-go gadget arms of the Glazer, guys. And we have to understand that. They are the ones wheeling and dealing. They're the ones doing all the nitty-gritty work behind the scenes. They're the guys who are doing it. It's them. They're the ones who facilitated the Glazers. They're the ones who gave them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, a life support machine, and all that jazz. They're the ones. INEOS are the ones, right? So forgive me if I don't believe in them or I trust them, because you never trust what is close with the enemy, which the Glazers are close and are with the enemy, of course, guys. Absolutely. We have to analyze everything, and we have to say, okay, now what goes on with football? It's going to be a difficult season again, another season down the drain. And I pray Man United manage to do something this season and manage to qualify for Europe via the league. We're not out of it, thanks to Ruben Amorim getting into that position. We're not out of the league race. We are still in the Champions League race. We're still there. We're in and around there, that area. So that's a good thing. We have got an opportunity to get in the Champions League positions. That's a good thing. And hopefully Michael Carrick can solidify that and do that. Big chance for Michael Carrick. It's your opportunity, mate. This is your opportunity to become something at Manchester United. This is your opportunity to achieve something, and as a manager, and maybe become the full-time manager of Manchester United, which he probably will do if he qualifies for the Champions League. I can almost guarantee that is going to happen, guys. I can almost guarantee it. Guys, big up everyone in the stream. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome, guys. Welcome aboard to Stretford Post. Hope you're doing well. Smash the likes, people. Thank you so much, Kenny. You legend. Good evening, Amina. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good evening, sir. How are you? I'm very well. Thanks very much. Think it's a good idea for Carrick to take the interim ban. Do you think it's a good idea? Look, at the end of the day, I would say, Amina, we have no choice because they're going to go for the cheapest and most easiest option. And they're going for a yes man, as someone who is desperate for the job. I wouldn't say that Carrick is as desperate as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he isn't going to be the one to answer back to the Glazers and to INEOS and put them, under pressure or put them on the spot. And this is easy for them. They're not looking for what's the best option. They're looking for the easiest option. And so, unfortunately, this is not down to Michael Carrick. I do not blame Michael Carrick. It's nothing to do with him. I know that. But he is not going to go into that hot seat and start calling people out. And that's not him. He's going to be just a coach. And that is exactly what I think he's going to be. He's going to be a first-team coach, exactly what INEOS, Wilcox, Barada, Vivell want him to be. That is what he's going to be. He's going to be a first-team coach. And I really wish him the best of luck. With all my heart, I wish Michael Carrick the best of luck. If he does get that job, I wish him the very best of luck. And I hope that Manchester United are back with Michael Carrick, because that would be lovely, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. But as Ruben Amorim proved, with a very, very good manager he is, it's not going to be easy. Players play when they want to play. Players have got lack of quality, mentality problems, off-field problems, discipline issues, everything on top of that, guys. We've got. It's going to be a very, very difficult job for whoever takes charge of this football club. It's going to be I think now it possibly is the most difficult game in world football. And that includes Real Madrid. Difficult job in world football, and that includes Real Madrid, because Real Madrid are set up to succeed, not set up to fail like Man United are at the moment. Real Madrid have everything in place. I think Man United are the most difficult job in football now. And the longer this goes on, the more we're going to get into the abyss, and the more and more we're going to start, diluting as a football club, and the foundations of the football club have become weaker and weaker and weaker. The more we keep doing this, the more we keep sacking, the more we keep going backwards, we're just going to weaken. We're not going to strengthen. And that's that is what's going to happen, and we are weakening. And, the foundations, if you keep fixing the pillars and fixing the pillars and fixing the pillars are going to get weaker and weaker. It's like breaking a pencil and sellotaping it back together. It's never going to be the same pencil, right? It's going to be the same thing if you keep sellotaping it back together. And that is Manchester United. We are analogy FC. We got so many analogies that can fit Man United right now in the state we're in the predicament we're in. So remember what Rashford said to Amorim, that I will be at Manchester United and you will not be there with Rashford coming back from loan. It's harsh truth. It's harsh truth. But what's harsh also is that he's a very overrated footballer and always has been. And I hope that Manchester United sell him and he goes, and it's best for his career. And it's best for everyone involved in Manchester United that he leaves, because that is precisely that comment. It just goes to show you what kind of person he is. He's a very self-centered individual, a very arrogant individual. 7 minutes in that game yesterday. And you know what? He's a substitute bit part player for Barcelona. And that's what, if he does come back to Man United, I don't mind him being a bit part player for Man United. What I do mind is that if he comes in and he starts disrupting the dressing room and things like that. His brother and his family and stuff. We've got enough of those voices, to last a lifetime at Manchester United at the moment. But Marcus Rashford typifies everything that has been wrong with Manchester United in the last 15 years, since Alex Ferguson left. In fact, since the Glazers left, Marcus Rashford is the epitome of what Man United have been doing wrong for so many years. He is that guy. Thinks he's made it. He's the best. People call him a legend. That is a joke as well. He thinks, he's let it get to his head. And that is where we are, guys, with these people. Sal, Manchester United is finished with INEOS never leaving, nor Glazers. We could be in full Sal with Qatari. Yes. But one thing that I do remember, Jim Ratcliffe said if he's not wanted and the pressure is put on INEOS immensely, he will leave. He said that, and we're going to take his word for that. There's clips of him saying that. We're going to take his word for it, and we're going to say, okay, let's put the pressure on INEOS. Let's see how far we can push Jim Ratcliffe. Let's see how far. We are not Nice. We are not Lausanne. We are Manchester United. Let's see how far we can push this bozo, right? And let's see if we can get him out of the football club. That's what we should be. It's who we are, mate. A sinking ship. Big up, Cam. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up, Bobby. How you doing, my bro? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Hello, I'm new here. Big up, Kalam. Good to see you, though. Good to see you, mate. Welcome to the family. Welcome to Stretford Post. Really good to see you, mate. Absolutely. Sal, Mark Goldbridge said Manchester United is finished. I don't disagree with that. Right now, where we stand as a football club, we are way behind Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. Now, look, when you're looking at Arsenal, we had our guy, we had our Arteta. It was Ruben Amorim, was our Arteta. And if you look at the way they supported supported Arteta, backed Arteta with every decision that he wanted to make, they backed him, and they backed him even though the fan base were making merchandise of getting him at the football club. That's the difference between Manchester United and Arsenal. We had an opportunity to build something here now. We are in big danger of falling away, guys. We're Manchester United. We are in massive danger of doing that. Too many teams, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, are pulling away at the moment. They're getting better and better and better. Every time I turn on my phone, I'm seeing another transfer for them, or they're getting this player. Conor Gallagher is going to Aston Villa. You know, another player that's going to slip through the fingers of Manchester United, deemed an easier player to get. Aston Villa already have a better team than us, a better midfield. They lose Kamara for a few weeks. In comes Conor Gallagher. Done and dusted. That is how proper football teams operate. And that's why I said you can bring in Unai Emery. You can bring in these guys to the football club. We get an injury. Forget about it. We're not getting any players through the door. Forget about it. No one's coming. Forget about it. We're getting an injury. That's it. It's over. You play some of the youngsters. Get Jack Fletcher or Tyler Fletcher in there. Do you think Aston Villa would do that? Even just Aston Villa we're talking about. We're not even talking about the elite teams in the Premier League. Aston Villa. You know, and this is what they are about. They're getting Conor Gallagher and we're just sitting there. We're just sitting there saying, oh, we'll deal with it. Don't worry, we'll deal with it. Oracle FC, exactly. Afternoon, Sal. Just checking in. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Steph. Big up everyone in the stream, of course. Absolutely. Bobby, it was already bad news before the rat. This is why we need to push for a full Sal. My biggest disillusionment, I would say, is the fact that the fan base now over this last 24 hours, in particular, the fan base have been very defensive, in particular, Ruben Amorim outers. All right. Obviously, no one likes to be proven wrong. No one likes to admit they're wrong these days, even though it's a sign of intelligence. No one wants to admit that they're wrong. Bunch of narcissists. And the old chestnut now is like, oh, two things could be right at the same time. You know, INEOS might be bad, but so might Ruben Amorim. No. Because Ruben Amorim wasn't bad. We were 3 points from top four. We had third most goals, third most assists. Maybe if INEOS, because they are bad, backed Ruben Amorim with the midfield, with the wing backs and the players that fit his system, those games like West Ham, like Everton, like Bournemouth would have turned into wins. Fulham would have turned into a win. Wolves would have turned into a win. Because when you're looking at what we've done in 14 months, what Ruben Amorim done, we beat City at the Etihad. We beat Liverpool at Anfield. We beat Crystal Palace for the first time since 2017 at Selhurst Park. We beat Newcastle. We beat Chelsea. And we beat Arsenal at the Emirates with 10 men. If that doesn't show you potential, I can't help you. When you're trying to change the foundations of a football club, and it's very difficult for people to understand when they just look at results and they don't look at anything else and they just look at that little thing there. When you are trying to change a football club in general, right, there's going to be bumps on the road. There's going to be turbulence. And I said it this morning. And if people think that it's going to be a bed of roses, if you're trying to turn Manchester United into a declining, sinking ship, into a bloody monster in the Premier League, that I don't know what to do for you, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be struggles. There's going to be trials and tribulations. That is how football is. And that is how life is. That's how life is. And then there's people out there saying, but you know what, INEOS, it was bad, he was this, he was that. He never had a chance to be bad. You should have given him to the end of the season. Evaluate it at the end of the season. He's not had one full season. We are 3 points from fourth. Mbeumo coming back, Ahmad coming back, Mazraoui coming back. And maybe if INEOS backed him with a midfielder, then you will start seeing the fruits of the labor. Then you will start seeing the rewards of the loyalty and the persistence. Because I could see it. I could see it. I've been supporting this football club for 4 decades, guys. I knew that there was something coming up. But this is what you want. You would prefer a Carrick. You would prefer a Fletcher. You would prefer an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's what you prefer. Okay. Bring it down. Let's do it again. Let's go through that. Let's revision, revision it. Let's go back. Let's see. Dave, what's going on? It was bad when Ratcliffe said the Glazers were nice people. That's like saying basically your enemy, your arch enemy, your biggest enemy there is saying that, oh, I like him. How would you feel about that? You know what I mean? It was an awful comment from him. And Jim Ratcliffe has never, ever since he walked through those doors at Old Trafford with his packed lunchbox and his bloody Poundland, bloody, no offense to Poundland or Primark clothes, I knew that this guy was not the guy for Manchester United. You think about how many people have been sacked at Manchester United over this last couple of years, right? We saved a few million, right? With the money that they sacked Ruben Amorim, you could have kept all those employees right there and doubled it. You know? There you go, guys. With that money they sacked Ruben Amorim with, you know, they could have got us a midfielder. They could have purchased us a midfielder, but that just goes to show you they will find the money when it suits them. When it hits their ego, they will find the money. Don't worry about that because Jim Ratcliffe was about to purchase Chelsea for 4 billion. He was going to purchase Chelsea for 4 billion. They will find the money. Don't worry about that. They've got the money. I've said it many, many times. When they sacked to Eric Ten Hag, people are telling me they ain't got the money to sack Ten Hag. I said they have. Oh, yes, they have. You don't think that INEOS, multi-billionaire, the one who's one of the richest guys in England and Britain, can't go out there and buy a £40 million player for Manchester United? Of course he can. These are lies, manipulation. They could have got Semenyo, couldn't they? You know? Glazers out all day long, of course. All day long, of course. Clam, I agree with you, mate. I tried to tell Rasta this anger towards the ownership clouds his judgment, but the anger is justified. Glazers out, INEOS out. Tell Rasta, who's Rasta? I don't know. Clam, big up, Clam. Some people, this is what I'm talking about, Clam. Some people look at football in a very simplistic manner, and it's not their fault, right? I've worked in football. I've got psychology, and stuff like that. And some people just look at things from the outset, from the numbers, right? They don't look at how we're playing, how we were pressing against Leeds, how we were pressing against Villa. They don't look at that, and they don't see that Manchester United were turning into a team that were counter-attacking to a team that was starting to dictate and dominate games, right? And we were within one goal from winning many of those games. One goal, and we missed a lot of chances in those games, right? So we're within one goal of missing all those games, right? And no offense to Sesko, I think he's a very good player, but Man United needed an experienced striker as well alongside Sesko to nurture Sesko. Now that if we did bring in an experienced striker, even just 50% of those games we drew would have ended up as wins. We would have definitely beaten Wolves. We'd have definitely beaten Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Even if we brought a midfielder in there. And this is what I'm talking about. Then the narrative would have changed. We would have been in the top 4 comfortably, etc. And we are only 3 points. Having said all that, we were only 3 points from the top 4 anyway. And that is what I'm talking about, you know. And people, unfortunately, they don't have the football savvy. If you're not football savvy, you can't buy it. You can't buy it. You just have to have the imagination. You can't, at the end of the day, and you can't like. You can't explain something like if we lose 2-1 to Aston Villa, you can't explain to them, but look at the game. Look at the game. This eventually will work. This eventually will click. This eventually will explode, and Man United will start winning games. And you know what would have happened? Out of the blue, Man United would have started winning football matches, and you would have been, what? Where did that come from? Bloody hell, where did that come from? Man United started win. And we did get a little taste of that when we went 10 unbeaten, remember? We went 10 unbeaten. We got a little taste of that, didn't we? We started to win games consistently. We lost 2 games and 11. 11, right? And then, if you want to talk about results, there's the results for you. There's the improvement for you. I can guarantee you, guys, we would have been in the Champions League next season. Now, I don't think we will. We'll be lucky to get Europa League. We'll be lucky to get Conference League. We're lucky to get something like that. INEOS are Glazer enablers, absolutely. And Manchester United need a full sell immediately. Yes, they do. Absolutely. Sat Wilcox, Amorim to come back. You know what will happen, Robert? I know that there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, bring back Amorim," this and that. It's never going to happen, unfortunately, because obviously he signed a contract to be sat. And to sign Ruben Amorim back, it's going to be a new contract, which won't happen, of course, and it's going to end up costing them money. And even though it would be an amazing thing, one of the most incredible things that happen in football, if it did happen, if he came back and he became Man United manager again, that'd be incredible. But their ego is such through the roof. They're narcissists. They're not going to admit they're wrong. I don't think they'll ever admit they're wrong, even if we start losing games and go down to 15th again. I think that, you know what, they're never going to do that. They're just going to hire another yes man, and that's it. And that, like, everything's okay. Imagine Carrick gets United to the third finish. I'll be absolutely ecstatic, Amina. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy because I'm not like the man, them minions. I'm not like those guys out there who are wishing bad on Man United. They're wishing Man United lose so that they can come out on their Twitter or their social media entities and say, oh, I told you so, hold that. I'm not like that. I want my Manchester United team to win. I want Man United to be successful. Ultimately, that's what a real Man United fan wants. And I think we deserve that, to be honest with you, because I do believe that a part of the fan base, I know we've got some of the worst fans in the world, but we've also got some of the best. Imagine we can, unfortunately, imagine is all we can do. Look, it's going to be very difficult when you're looking at the league. We're already, how many points behind Aston Villa, who are in fourth place? 10. It's going to be incredibly difficult to do anything. We're only playing for the fifth place, which could be Champions League. It might not be Champions League. Getting into the fourth place when there's about 17 games to go is going to be incredibly difficult. This is not Man United from the 90s. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're going to have to win basically every single game, including the Man City and the Arsenal games and things like that, if we really, truly feel like we can have a serious chance. Still only lost 5 Premier League games, but City and Arsenal next. And knowing us, we will end up those 2 games and then revert to rubbish again. Actually, Stephanie, you said it right there. You know, we'll probably go and beat Man City and beat Arsenal, and then we're all happy and we're singing songs and stuff like that. And then we go and lose to Tottenham, you know, and that's exactly what Man United are, you know, and that's us in a nutshell. And where does that come from? That doesn't come from any manager. That comes from mentality for many, many years, which has resonated to this day. And it's become an infection in Man United. That, you know what, when we're handed an opportunity, we can't take the opportunity. Now, how many opportunities did Manchester United have this season so far that would have got us into the top 3, the top 4? So many. And how many of those opportunities didn't we take? That's not Ruben Amorim. That's the mentality of the players. This is why Ruben Amorim needed his own team. He needed to mold his own team together to build one team for one goal, and they all on the same page. Unfortunately, we got a mixture of players who played for various different managers from various different eras, and all they're used to, a lot of them, is failure. Unfortunately, all they're used to is failure. And any manager that comes into this football club right now will have a backlog of players that are not theirs, with different players, different experiences, and different mentalities. You know, this is why when you come into the football club, just like Mikel Arteta did, he was able to get rid of the players, even though they were fan favourites, Bumper Clot Yang, you know, and all those players, right? He managed to get rid of those players. He managed to he was given the authority to get the players he wanted in and the players he wanted to leave. That's why he spent $1 billion. You know, our football club, we needed consistency. We needed backing. We needed to shut out the noise. Like I said, guys, earlier, Arsenal were making caps and merchandise against Ruben Amorim. Arsenal fans were vocal, and Arsenal fans are very loud, by the way. We know that. Arsenal fans were vocal. Arsenal fans were trying to get him, you know, Arteta out of the football club by hook or by crook. When he came 8th twice, they were trying to get him out of the football club. Do you know what I mean? Ruben Amorim hasn't even had one season to even compliment that. Not even that. Little bit of heat in the kitchen, cut him off by the sauce. That's what happened. And it wasn't even about football. This was about ego. And this is the worst thing about it. This was not about football. This was personal ego. Now, guys, ego, personal feelings should go to the back of the queue when it comes to managing or having a business. Back of the queue. If you having a fallout, no matter if it's in the public, in the media, anything, you pull someone to one side and say, look, Ruben, come on, mate. What's going on? You can't do that in the media, mate. What's going on? What do you need? What do you need? But we all know that this didn't happen. We all know that, you know what, he's been promised a lot of things, and they did not pull through on their promises, sadly. You know, and obviously anyone, no matter who you are, we can say, oh, you know what, it doesn't matter and all that. It does matter. Because at the end of the day, the thing about Ruben Amorim is that he wanted United to be successful. Now we're moving on to 2026. And boy, what a start to 2006, eh? We thought this year would be nice to us, innit? So far, no. We're going to have Michael Carrick most likely as the interim manager until the end of the season. I'd say that with big quotation marks, of course, end of the season, because at the end of the day, you know, if he does well, he's going to get the job full time. I don't mind that. I don't. I'm not going to say that. If he does very well, gets Man United European football, well done, Carrick. That's great, Michael. Well done. But my biggest concern about all of this is that if he does get the job, it's the players I worry about. It's the players. As soon as he signs on the dotted line, right, players down tall, players think, oh, we've done it now. He's got the job. Let's go. You know what I mean? We don't need to play as much. Big up, Steph. Clam. I don't think the club deserves Champions League football. We must pay for our sins. Yeah, you get what you deserve in football, isn't it? That's all it is. Best of luck to him. The season mayhem could be blessing in disguise. Let's hope so. It's not. I mean, he's been thrown straight into the deep end. I mean, you got Man City, you got Arsenal, you got Tottenham coming up thick and fast. Thrown straight into the deep. I don't know where these games are coming from. Man United. Man United have probably had the most difficult start in Premier League. You know, already in January we would have played Arsenal twice and Man City twice. You know what I mean? This is what we're talking about as well. And people tend to forget about that little old chestnut, that our fixture list has been absolutely atrocious. Absolutely. Was listening to Ben Jacobs on TOS. What an INEOS bootleg. Ben is a friend of the show, Genny. He's been on the show 2 times. And I like Ben. He's good, but obviously he's a corporate guy. He's a corporate fella. And he's not a Manchester United fan. He's a Leicester City fan. He's not good. He has no affiliation to Man United to be a bootleg or to be anything else. He's a good journalist and I like him. And the thing is, though, is that many of these people feel like they need INEOS because obviously working in a corporate environment, he may need these interviews. He may need these, VIP passes and stuff like that, pressers and things like that. That's what journalists do. So they keep the ownership sweet, don't they? I've had Jamie Jackson on the show as well. People like that, people of that ilk. And it's exactly the same. You know what I mean? It's exactly the same. They're in it for them. They're in it for they have to think about their career. They're not Man United fans at the end of the day. Jamie Jackson's a Blackburn fan. Ben Jacobs is a Leicester fan. So at the end of the day, yeah, you know, I would like more people to call out INEOS. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of people were calling out INEOS this last 24 hours in particular, because obviously it gives them a sort of excuse sort of thing. It sort of covers up their misfailings in regards to their opinion about Ruben Amorim, because we lost to Brighton yesterday and we're at the FA Cup. So they're using now the INEOS thing, you know, and all this. 2 things could be wrong at the same time, you know, all these analogies and stuff like that. Ruben Amorim wasn't given an opportunity, man. 14 months, halfway through the season last season. And people are using what happened last season, using the sound bites of Grimsby and Tottenham and using that, right, and using it against him to now and just saying, oh, look, see, we lost to Grimsby. And you know what? This is what they're using all the time. Alex Ferguson lost to York City. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, guys. At the end of the day, as I said at the beginning of the show, if you're trying to fix a culture at the football club, you know, you're going to have a bumpy ride sometimes. You're going to have turbulence. And that's exactly what I was saying. Just reading this one. Villa are interested in signing Conor Gallagher. Looks like Conor Gallagher is going to go to Villa. Stephanie. United manager's job is definitely a poison chalice at the moment. It definitely is. 21, 27. Thank you so much, guys. Let's get to 50 likes if we can possibly do that. Guys, come on, guys. Let's get those likes up. Thank you so much. Benny, Sal, thanks for being one of the only channels to shout out the rafters. The problem is that at United, it's sad state of affairs from where the club... I know will never change, Benny. There are people that don't understand what's going on. And, you know, they just didn't like Ruben Amorim and they wanted him sacked. And they're going to do it with the other manager and the other manager after that, you know. Because I can't really see any manager really and truly, if someone's going to put gun to head to me, staying for longer than a year, 2 years now. I think that we're going to turn into Chelsea. We're going to turn into a wish Chelsea, not a Chelsea. We're going to turn into a wish Chelsea, like a dumbed down version of Chelsea. And we're going to start sacking managers left, right, and centre. And Michael Carrick being sacked, I can see Michael Carrick being sacked, but I wish him all the best. Of course I do. You know, absolutely. Yeah. So positive talks have been taken place between Michael Carrick and Manchester United. Michael Carrick does look likely to be Manchester United manager. That is not confirmed, but he does look the front runner at the moment to be Manchester United manager. Now, this feeds into the narrative, doesn't it? that a few days ago, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the favourite. And why is he not the favourite anymore? Let me tell you why he's not the favourite anymore. Because the way INEOS work, because they don't know about football, they don't have their own mind, they look on social media. And when you start talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they looked on social media, they looked on all the TV channels and social and media channels, and they said, this isn't, all they keep saying is embarrassment, this, that, and the other. It's a joke, this, is this, that. And they've turned away from it. That's what they do. Now they've gone to Carrick, and now they're looking at how's the reaction going to be with Michael Carrick, blah, blah, blah. Oh, a little bit better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So let's get Michael Carrick, Dan, my guy, what's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. Good to see you. Hi, Sal. Big up, my friend. A bit numb and deflated right now. Carrick is the right man at this point because INEOS has thrown the club under the bus. Our fate lies on the results against City and Arsenal, I think. Honestly, Dan, it can get very, very precarious, very, very toxic, very, very soon. We lose to City are fighting for the league. We lose to Arsenal fighting for the league. It can get very, very dangerous, guys, with Man United, where we are right now. And we could easily slip down that league, we got no stability at the moment, no consistency at the moment. The players look off it, I noticed, especially yesterday. The players don't look happy. I can see in the body language, guys. I've seen the body language. I've seen the body language of the players. There's players there that are not happy by what's going on. I can tell 100%. You can tell in the way that they're playing football at the moment. It's not good. You could see us get into the relegation battle. Look, nothing in football, Clam, is impossible. Man United were relegated in 1974, so I know that anything is possible, guys. We won the Champions League in 1968, and we got relegated in 1974, so there's not in the realms of impossibility. In fact, that team in 1974 was better than this team right now, so it's not impossible. The thing about toxicity, it is a downward spiral if it gets too toxic, and the confidence of the players go low. And I don't think Man United will get relegated. I don't. However, I do think that Man United can go into the mid-table abyss. That could happen for a few years. I always believe that Man United will be back. I think we will eventually, but we're going to go through the mud even more before we get back. And I think it will equal itself out, but these owners have to go. INEOS have to go. The Glazers have to go. They all have to go. And we have to have a new ownership if we're going to have any chance of getting back into a serious conversation about league titles and Champions League titles and things like that. Everyone in Europe, even Emmanuel Petit said yesterday. You remember Emmanuel Petit used to play for Arsenal? He said that Europe needs Man United. Man United need Europe. They should be in Europe. They have to be in Europe. But you're not guaranteed anything in life, isn't it? And that was an ex-Arsenal player. You're not guaranteed anything in life. The funniest thing about Arsenal and Arsenal fans, I've heard more sense from Arsenal fans about Man United than I've heard from Man United fans. A lot of Man United fans, especially over these last couple of days, some of the things I've heard from Man United fans is ridiculous. The excuses they're making in regards to the sacking of Ruben Amorim, trying to justify the sacking of Ruben Amorim, and the Man Dem Minions as well. The reason I call them Man Dem Minions, because they are very, very low on the old ball IQ thing. And that's why you'll never get a Man Dem Minion managing Manchester United, Amina, Sal, do you think we are going to buy players this transfer window? Can I be honest with you, Amina? Considering that we're going to get an interim manager, I would say no. I don't have any confidence that we're going to buy a player this transfer window, because obviously what the excuse is going to be now is that INEOS are going to say, well, you know what, it's instability at Man United, so we don't know whether Carrick is going to stay to the end of the season. If it is Carrick, we don't know, but he's going to stay to the end of the season. So obviously we're going to wait until the summer to do our business, so we have more clarity of where we are. This is how they're thinking of the moment. It's an interim manager. Why would they invest on an interim manager? And this is exactly what it is at the end of the day, isn't it? Unless they get some loan for somewhere, I don't know from where, someone of quality comes in, a loan somewhere. Unless something like that happens, I really can't see them spending money. I'll be extremely surprised if they did spend money. Sal, when's Lit back? He should be back in a couple of weeks. I think he's got a back injury at the moment. If I'm not wrong, I think he had a reoccurrence of something that happened. Ratcliffe tried, and guys, listen, in regards to Carrick, we have missed him. At least this is proof how important, in regards to De Ligt, sorry, we have missed him, and this is obviously proof and evidence of how important De Ligt has been for Man United. Ratcliffe tried to buy Chelsea with $4 billion. Where is that money now? In his pocket, Benny. in his pocket. And this is something that every time I bring it up in regards to those INEOS bootlickers, every time I bring it up, they don't answer the question. Where has that 4 billion gone exactly? The 4 billion that he was going to buy Chelsea with, where is it? People don't understand. Jim Ratcliffe can go out there right now and splash out 100 million with his own cash on Man United right now if he wanted to. If he's born and bred, for goodness sake, he's 77, right? Or something like that, or something around that age. For goodness sake, he would have thought, okay, I'm going to make Man United successful before I hit the bucket. You know what I mean? And that's what he would, but he hasn't, obviously. And Dan, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes sat there yesterday like a pair of plums. I hope they had a good view to see it, the quality and mentality of the players of the team. How is that old four at the back doing? How is the Man United DNA doing, eh? How is that? Because that's what they were talking about, banging on the drum, putting pressure on Ruben Amorim non-stop. You know, I mean, how is that going along? You know, that little four at the back, how did it do? Because at the end of the day, I saw one of the worst performances of the season. I'm not even joking. The last time we played Brighton, and listen, guys, this was not Brighton's first team. I know we were missing in Bremo and Ahmed, but this was Brighton's reserve team, guys. Bar 1-2 players. This was Brighton. They had Steele in goal. Bruggen's their goalkeeper. There's only a couple of players in that team, right, that are deemed first-team players for Brighton. And they went and they rocked up at Old Trafford and they outplayed us. You know what I mean? It's not Darren Fletcher's fault. Of course, it's not Darren Fletcher's fault. But this old thing about formations, tactics. We played four at the back. How many times did we get slapped up 5, slapped up 6 with 4 at the back? You know, we lost 7-1 to Liverpool. 7-0 with 4 at the back. You know, we beat Liverpool with 3 at the back, 2-1 at Anfield. And people, this as long as it doesn't suit their narrative, and that's all that cares in their eyes, isn't it? In the eyes of them. Absolutely shocking Brighton game, absolutely. Even, what's going on, my friend? I've been doing well. Get me that rat out of the football club and that inbred-looking Glazer family. We must fight to get our club back. I'm so fucking pissed off. No gaffer and no player can succeed under this regime. Don't you think it's a coincidence even, right? That the likes of Embremo, the likes of Cunha are not performing at Man United. When you look at their stats last season, and consistently, by the way, for Brentford and Wolves, it's completely different. Don't you think that's weird? You know? We have the worst owners in football, pound for pound, the worst owners in sport, right? That's who we have right now. We have the worst owners in the world, in my opinion. I would argue that with anyone. There is no owner in world football as bad as the Glazers. Because what they give to Man United is not only incompetence. They give Man United toxicity. They divide the fan base. They've divided the fan base, and it's been like that forever. They manipulate the fan base. They split it into, just like they were trying to do now with Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because they know if you bring in a Carrick and you bring in an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if it goes pear-shaped, the results go bad, it's going to be very difficult to say, get Carrick out of my club. Get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of my club. It's going to be very difficult. And what does that bring? Division, guys. Division. And that's what they want. Divide and conquer. It's a very American motto. Divide and conquer. And Britain. Divide and conquer. And that is what they do. Divide Man United fan base, conquer. You know, and that's what they do. And they win. They won again. Sack Ruben Amorim because he spoke up. And he didn't even say anything that is really, really offensive. You know? Kenny, I mean, we ain't getting any players in January. Not now. Roy, last time Man United played title leaders Arsenal in January, Nketiah scored the winning goal for Arsenal in the 3-2 win. Controversial goal. Would it have been offside? Man United revenge. I would love Man United to defeat Arsenal. I don't like Arsenal. I would love Man United to defeat Arsenal, just like I would love Man United to defeat Man City as well. Will we do it? Hell no. Way we are right now, probably not. Will I give up? No. Man United need players back. If Man United manage to get De Ligt back, I think we'll have a more greater chance of, you know, winning against Arsenal. The defensive side of things is going to be very important. We need to look at it like this. Man United now, in theory, are not really playing for anything. We're playing for 5th place right now because obviously Aston Villa are 10 points ahead. Will Man United's mentality be like, let's go for it. Let's go for that 5th place. Will they do that? Or will they just give up and say, oh, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing about it. Can we beat Arsenal? Sure we can. These players have proven they could beat Arsenal. You know? We beat them with 10 men at the Etihad, at the Emirates last season, didn't we? So, you think we'll miss 4 or 5? I see it going to the wire. I see you made in top 6, though. If we get top 6, top 5, it'd be an extremely big achievement considering where Man United are. It can get a little bit precarious, though, because we've got Man City and Arsenal coming up thick and fast. I don't think this is the strongest Manchester City side I've ever seen. I think we can beat Man City. Arsenal game is going to be difficult, but there is a huge possibility we can lose both of those games, guys. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at draw to Burnley, lost to Brighton, lost to Man City, and lost to Arsenal. You're already looking at 4 games, 3 defeats, 1 draw. Now, let's put that in perspective, right? Ruben Amorim had 2 defeats in 11, right? And let's put that in perspective, you know? Which board in the world listens to pundits except ours? You know why it is, Suna? Big up, Suna. It's because they're not football people. They're not football people. They don't have their own football brain. Like me and you would have our own football brain, and we'll think about it and say, who cares what he says? We know what we're doing. That's Gary Neville. Who's Gary Neville? So they'll see someone like Gary Neville, right? And they'll put Gary Neville on this weird pedestal of football knowledge and, you know, and stuff like that. They'll put him on this weird pedestal and, you know what? And they think that, oh, you know what? He's an ex-player. We can't have that. Oh, my goodness, he's embarrassing us. You know what I mean? Even though Gary Neville's not got the guts to call out the ownership, you know, that is exactly what it is. And they seem to be heavily affected by outside noise. So that's a good thing, because then Man United, we could quite possibly create a lot of outside noise of our own, and we can attack them. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. And hopefully the protests go well, the anti-INEOS things, but don't be surprised, guys. Once this whole protest in regards to anti-INEOS goes ahead, don't be surprised. And I don't want anyone to fall for this nut, because the 1958 fell for it last time with the Mainu thing, with the Belabor thing, right? They're going to start linking us to players just before that protest. Just before the protest, they're going to start linking Man United to players. It's up to us not to fall for that and be manipulated by that. That's what I would say. I hope Carrick does well, but you know very well, Sal, this board will set him up to foul. Everyone, Kenny. Now, I've said, get Luis Enrique, right? Now, when I'm looking at it, this is why I say Luis Enrique, and I know they're not going to back him to the level that it needs to be backed, but we have got good players. Half of our team is good. Half of it is incredibly bad. So if they can sort of like bring in a Luis Enrique, right, and then fix 2 midfielders, bring him in 2 midfielders, for example, right? I think Luis Enrique will cook. I think he'll do well, Man United. And I think we're better having that than having something that is just set up to fail, which is Carrick. If we had Qatar, Ruben Amorim would succeed. He would have succeeded already. We would have won that Europa League final. We would have done a few things. Guys, we would be in the Champions League right now. You know, and even if we didn't have Ruben Amorim, we would have had someone else and we would be thriving right now. We'd be in the league. We might even have had Luis Enrique. We might have had someone like that. You know, we would have been doing something. But now we got the worst owners in the world. Exactly. That's what we're becoming, Kenny. We're a Timu Chelsea. A Timu Chelsea. Because at least with Chelsea, right, Kenny, when Chelsea sack managers, they bring in a manager and they give him money. They chuck money at the new manager to try and prove a point. We don't even do that. You know? Full sale in the summer and bring in Roy Keane to manage the club and meet standards, reset standards. Again, like what I said, Benny, you know, my guy, that interview with Roy Keane the other day, the most important part of that interview was they're not going to call me because he's filming that with Alex Ferguson. Why does that have to be a thing? Why can't he work at Man United just because he doesn't get on with Alex Ferguson? We said it many, many times about Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole. They never got on well with each other. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. This football club, honestly, we need to just think. Roy Keane, and many of us have said it for many, many years, it's godsend for Roy Keane to come to Man United. You know, he's the perfect character for this team, honestly. Wishful thinking, I know it is. I know, but we can only wish. Well, you never know. Get the positive energy going. I'd rather have Ole than Carrick. Ole needs to just do his thing, leave Carrick and Ole. I wouldn't rather have Ole. Ole's too nice. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have Ole rather than Carrick, no. They're both the same a lot, but I wouldn't have Ole, no. We've had Ole. And Ole fouled. Ole lost 5-0 to Liverpool at home. Ole lost 5-0 to Tottenham. Ole lost 4-1 to Watford. Ole lost 4-0 to Everton. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. That bounce won't happen again. And that was COVID anyway. Even we have a dead culture at our club. Even the most dedicated player can become a clown when they join us. Exactly that. It's something in the air. I honestly think Man United needs some divine inspiration, divine intervention. I think we need a godly thing to pray over Old Trafford. Guys, you may not agree, but whatever you worship, we need something godly to come and worship over Old Trafford because we have got a curse, guys. I'm telling you right now. I'm not even lying, guys. We've got a curse. It was Brighton's second team. Yeah, it was. It was Brighton's second team. The whole problem is the owners don't want to spend the money. They want the club to run from its own revenue. Exactly. They don't want to spend anything. Ryan Reynolds is a better owner than Jerry. I said it yesterday. I would love Ryan Reynolds as the Man United manager. I would love a Man United owner. Yeah. Oh, my God. Ben is getting lots of stick on United stand earlier. He's got to be careful. I would say to Ben Jacobs, you've got to be careful what you talk about. You've got to do your research, man. Do your study. Because at the end of the day, I know you are corporate and I know you want to keep corporate people happy, Jim Ratcliffe and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, these people are destroying Manchester United, right? From the core. And it's not going to be good for you if you start defending them. Because we can see right through that. We can see through that nonsense, you know? Wow. Right, let me see if there's any news. 1 second. Okay, a little bit of breaking news from Ben Jacobs. Manchester United expected to be appointed Michael Carrick as caretaker in time to manage the Manchester derby. Carrick, the preferred choice over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as revealed yesterday. Formal steps are now being taken with announcement likely within the next 48 hours, potentially as early as Tuesday. That is the latest news in regards to Michael Carrick being the new interim manager of Manchester United and could be installed as the Manchester United manager for the game against Manchester City. Ben Jacobs, just now, guys, has just spoken. Example on Football People. Martin Edwards talked about Bobby Charlton when Ferguson was under pressure. Sir Bob told him the job Ferguson was doing and he would get it right. The rest is history. Exactly that. You know. Right. I am being honest. Man United might get relegated next century. You never know what happens in football. We never know what happens. Daz, what makes you think he 100% wouldn't be good enough? What makes you say that? Are you an oracle, mate? Are you psychic? Are you David Blaine, Daz? I don't know. What happened to Rude as manager? I don't know, mate. SLD, Daz, if you think that he's going to be a bad influence, you go to Man United and become a psychiatrist. So you seem to know their brains and everything. You seem to know their personalities. Why doesn't Gary Neville step up all that to chest? Does he remember what he's like? Yeah, no, mate. He's an embarrassment. That's why. He's an embarrassment, mate. He's big at SLD, by the way. He is an embarrassment. Absolute clown. Guys, thank you. That's all I can say. You absolute legends. We're in this together. That's one thing I would say. Yeah, Carrick looks likely to be the Manchester United manager for the game against Manchester City next on Sunday. I believe it's Sunday or Saturday, guys. And so be it, guys. So be it. Guys, please don't forget to smash a like on the way out. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to put your notifications on for Uncle Sal. Come on, guys. Do that for me. If you could do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you, guys. Let's not forget, I'm back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. Got a busy week. Got the AFCON semi-final as well. So I'm going to be doing the AFCONs as well. So, guys, join me for those games. That should be fun. And, guys, we look forward to, which is probably, most likely, Michael Carrick's first game for Man United against Manchester City at the weekend. Guys, absolute legends. Every single one of you. Thank you so much.
I'll see you tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. Have a good night. Take it easy. Peace.